Picking back up on the accreditation, the department's national accreditation through NRPA requires a master plan, and 5-year master plans shape the goals and priorities of the department to match community interests. The current master plan covers 2016 through the 2020 timeframe. Currently underway with Troyer Group Consultants, we are working on our next master plan. And this master plan will involve a community interest survey, stakeholder and public input meetings, analysis and maintenance, recreation, sports, and administration delivery system, master plan document, and strategic action plan for programs and operations. The effect of COVID on Parks and Recreation. Since 2008, Bloomington Parks and Recreation has emphasized the role Parks and Recreation has in public health. And while this has been our practice, COVID-19 has elevated our resources and responses to meet the public health crisis. Our local parks, trails, and open green spaces have always served as places where people find respite, seek peace, and are physically active. During this time of COVID-19 uncertainty, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has identified mental health as a top concern during high stress and anxiety-producing global public health emergencies. The Parks Department's resources are needed now more than ever, and we believe that parks, trails, and open green spaces can continue to be used in a safe manner that allows people to enjoy the mental and physical health benefits these spaces provide. The impact of COVID-19 on the Parks and Recreation Department has resulted in over 120 programs, events, leagues, and volunteer opportunities canceled to date. In response, park staff have produced over 60 virtual programs, customer service staff taking calls, while operations staff have safely opened outdoor spaces for health orders and protocols. The park staff have been incredible in their abilities to react, plan, and facilitate COVID-19 health orders to keep our community safe. Staff never stopped their work, but responded to meet community need, whether it was opening facilities for fabric mask making, delivering 11,000 meals to children during the summer months, providing childcare safely, and maintaining parks and trails from record number of visitors seeking outdoor spaces for relief from COVID-19 stress. These efforts have been unfolding since March and continue today and for the foreseeable future as we recognize and facilitate the responsibility we have as a department to the Bloomington community. The program revenue has been impacted. To date, our general fund program revenue is down 32%, and our non-reverting program revenue is down 48%. The department's non-reverting fund was created to serve as an enterprise fund, allowing maximum flexibility for the department to offer services in response to trends and customer demand while minimizing reliance on the general fund tax base. The Board of Park Commissioners review and approve the annual non-reverting budget. Board of Park Commissioners and staff annually review, recommend, approve program fees based on a pricing pyramid and a cost recovery goals for each program area. The lower the cost recovery goal, the more reliance is placed on the general fund. The higher the cost recovery goal, less reliance is placed on the general fund as the program fees fund the program. For example, Banneker Community Center, which has a high community benefit, has a low cost recovery goal of 20%, which accounts for their reliance on the general fund to operate the facility and run programs. On the opposite end, or at the tip of the pyramid, Golf Services has a highly individual benefit and therefore has a cost recovery goal of 85%. Fees charged at the golf course produce revenue projections in 2021 to be $725,000 to allow us to break even, plus or minus, and of course is always weather dependent. The Twin Lakes Recreation Center was purchased using a revenue bond in May 2009. And through a citizen survey and a special citizen survey for people over 50 years of age, they indicated a need for an indoor health and wellness, sport, and recreation space. The TLRC offers an adaptable area for a wide range of activities with movable court dividers that create an expansive area for sports competitions, special events, or expo space. A variety of insurance-based memberships and programming targeting seniors has elevated the total number of senior members to 500. In sustainability and climate change practices can be seen throughout the operations, sports, and recreation divisions. Most noticeably are the solar panels at 6 park sites and 6 facilities. At the Switchyard Park Pavilion, we use the Solar Edge monitoring dashboard to measure the environmental benefits of the solar panels at this location. And in addition, Parks Department staff, including the city landscaper, the urban forester, the natural resources coordinator and manager, our health and wellness coordinator, Banneker coordinator, and the landscaping foreperson are the Parks Climate Sustainability Action Team, who work collaboratively with ESD's Assistant Director of Sustainability, representing the work Parks does with addressing climate change and sustainability. Solar panel graph indicates the energy savings since the installation of solar panels at park and facility sites. Total savings in 2018 was a little over $30,000, and total savings in 2019 was for a little over $44,000. Trails, trails, and more trails. The 2015 Citizen Interest Survey indicated the community support for established trails and requests for more trails. This map illustrates the progress we've made in connecting our trail system. While we don't count trail users, we know by overflowing trailhead parking lots, the increased emphasis on biking and walking, and now most recently, people seeking outdoor spaces for COVID-19 physical activity, trails are the backbone to our park system. The Switchyard Park Master Plan Vision Statement reads, boldly transform an industrial legacy site into a signature urban park through innovative design, forward thinking, and restorative environmental strategies. A park that recalls the site's unique history, reconnects the city, inspires social interaction and civic celebration, and catalyzes future development in the surrounding community. Essentially, and in summary, something for everyone. We were excited to begin construction in 2017, and in November 2019, we held a park rebuild celebration. We are in the final stages of completion with punch list items remaining, and we look forward to a fall park dedication yet this fall. The department's 5-year capital improvement project maintains a 5-year capital improvement project list. And while securing general fund capital improvement funding can be challenging from year to year, the Parks Commissioners have the ability every 16 years to approve the sale of general obligation park bond. And in 2016, the Board of Park Commissioners issued Park District bonds to complete several significant capital improvement projects. And beginning in 2017 to 2021, we have $6.9 million to complete a significant capital improvement projects. Over 20 park locations and facilities have benefited from capital improvement projects, with the list shown as the most recent ones. I don't know that you can see the drone footage, or if you just have a black square, I have a drone footage of the Waldron Hill Buskirk Park improvements, which includes pavers in front of the stage, new lighting, and landscaping. In 2018, in celebration of Bloomington's bicentennial, a $10 million Bicentennial Bond was approved by the Board of Park Commissioners and City Council as an investment in our communities for future generations. They include gateway projects, the Duke Energy Trail, which is currently under contract for design, the Griffey Loop Trail under design and working closely with CVU, contracted tree planting using identified available tree plots from the 2019 tree inventory, and Lower Cascades Park Trail road conversion pilot project currently underway. Just a few brief slides on our progress in 2020, and I'll start with administration. As I mentioned, the master plan process has begun with 5,000 random city residents receiving postcards with a URL linked to a survey. The postcards went out on August 10th. And as of August 17th, 130 surveys have already been completed. The survey will be open until September 18th. The community relations social media team with representatives from each division are coordinating both Facebook and Instagram posts, and during COVID-19 time has been spent with posting virtual programs. Highlights in all program areas in the operations division, and this time of year, the landscaping installation of native plants is very visible throughout the community. So far in 2020, a little over 6,000 seedlings and shrubs have been planted as part of the reforestation project, with more to come this fall. In the Recreation Division, noted on the slide are the 5 different program areas. And in the Community Garden Program area, the goal was to rent 30 of the 39 community garden beds at Switchyard Park. I'm happy to report that all 39 garden beds were rented with a waiting list. And in the Sports Division, youth sports had 3 tournaments scheduled, but only held 1 due to COVID. And they currently have 4 outside groups renting outdoor youth facility field space. Turning now to the 2021 budget goals, and while your budget memo lists several goals per program area, I will be highlighting just a few. Beginning with administration, we plan to apply and successfully complete the department's reaccreditation to assure professional delivery of programs and services to the community. In community relations, we are going to increase the number of Facebook followers to 10,000. And the social media team will continue to post and engage the community in virtual programs, program announcements, and pop-up programming. The operations division will begin with parks, facilities, and trail maintenance. They will be responding and maintaining to the $84 million in assets the department is responsible for. This work is generated through work requests submitted by the Recreation, Sports, and Operations Division. And several members in this division are able to manage in-house projects, which is a cost savings versus having to contract the work out. Landscaping is responsible for 7.23 acres of publicly owned property. And the drone footage that I don't know that you can see is of the goat farm prairie. And in 2021, they will implement the plan for the 5-acre expansion at this site. In urban forestry, they will continue to maintain over 19,000 trees on publicly owned property and will plant 500 trees with 50% near high priority planting area as identified in the 2019 Urban Forestry Inventory. In natural resources, we are very excited to work with Outer Spatial, who will design a trail map app specific to Bloomington parks to help share recreation information with the public. The goal is to connect and engage with more park users using innovative mobile technology. And if the cemeteries will repair 50 monuments at Rose Hill and White Oak and install 13 custom section markers at Rose Hill Cemetery. Moving to the Recreation Division, we'll start with Banneker Community Center that will continue the development of the Cultural Hub Initiative by securing 3 partnerships with community organizations. This initiative will now include a nutrition component thanks to an $85,000 2-year grant award to Banneker by the National Parks and Recreation Association and Walmart. This grant was awarded to only 15 departments nationally, of which we were one. The 2015 Citizen Survey and our most recent city survey told us that our community like our community events and they want more. So to that end, we will hold a minimum of 6 concerts at Switchyard Park. The opening of Switchyard Park, despite COVID-19 challenges, has the staff ready to program and welcome visitors near and far. To help facility rentals in the pavilion, we'll create a pavilion walkthrough video and activate Switchyard Parks with new and existing events. The inclusive recreation area will serve the department in its entirety through ADA consultation, as well as to promote year-round inclusion through social media, inclusive brochure distribution, and outreach to disability-focused agencies. And a partnership agreement with IUROTC has helped increase the participation at the annual Veterans Day run. So in 2021, we will work to have 85 participants. And we'll be planning for the 27th year of Kids City. And while the summer was challenging with new COVID-19 protocols, we plan to offer 3 after-hours activities to extend the successful daytime programming for Kids City camp participants. Now moving to the sports division, golf services. The brand new clubhouse at Cascades Golf Course is yet to hit its full rental capacity due to COVID-19. However, in 2021, we plan to rent the clubhouse for 25 private rentals. and increase the number of 18-hole rounds to over 22,000. Public skating at Frank Southern is always very popular, along with the Learn to Skate and hockey initiation programs. And in 2021, we will increase the public session attendance to 14,000. We will be most anxious to open the pools in 2021, and we will be prepared to supervise attendance of over 12,000 at Mills Pool and 33,000 at Bryan Park Pool. And the TLRC, with improvements to the weight room, locker rooms, and new front counter and customer service friendly staff, we will work to increase total membership uses, visits, and participations to 67,000. And while the 2020 National Softball Tournament was canceled due to COVID, we will host one national tournament in July of 2021 to create an economic impact of over 500,000 for the community. And again, COVID-19 affected our ability to host tournaments in 2020, but we plan to host 3 rental tournaments at Winslow Sports Complex to help build capacity on weekends. So looking to our 2021 budget request, in category 1, personnel, we have an increase of 116,658 or 2%. Those increases are seen in our line 111 and also 112. In our seasonal line 112, seasonal wages are increased annually for the Consumer Price Index. The 2021 hourly rate ranges is $13.29 an hour to $15.23 an hour. In category 2, supply request is a decrease of 34,336. These decreases come in fuel and oil, other repairs and maintenance, other supplies and uniforms, and covers several different program areas. And in category 3, we have a decrease of 93,684 or 4%. And those decreases come in consultants and workshops, travel, printing and advertising, and water. So the Parks and Recreation 2021 General Fund budget request is $8,360,393, a decrease of 164,361 or a 2% decrease. The 2021 Parks and Recreation budget request reflects funding that aligns with the stated goals below. And I'd like to thank you for your consideration of the Parks and Recreation 2021 budget request, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. McDevitt. Let's go to council questions. Who'd like to go first? Who'd like to go second? Okay, Councilmember Piedmont-Smith.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. My question is about the availability of public restrooms, and I did see in your memo that you have a goal of maintaining 8 restroom facilities for public use from April 1st through October 31st. Of course, public restrooms are very important for our parks users, but also for people experiencing homelessness, and particularly important for all of us in the era of COVID when hand washing is so important. I wonder if you could tell me a little more about the hours for those restrooms, when they would be open, and whether there's been any consideration to extending the season for restrooms to be open.
Thank you for your question. Yes, we have what we call stationary restrooms, and then we also rent and own several portalet, and we have an extensive outline and schedule of where all those are located that I'd be happy to share with you. But our restrooms are at Bryan Park, at Lower Cascades, Building Trades, Butler Park, and Alcott Park. And those restrooms are open for our park hours. Opens a little bit later in the mornings to get crews in there to clean them up, but they are closed and locked by 11 p.m. And we do have an intensive, as I said, sanitation schedule that I'd be happy to share with you.
So what time do they open in the mornings?
Park hours are open at 5 o'clock, but they open a little bit later in the morning. I'm not exactly sure exactly what time because our crews get out there and clean them first and then open them up, but early morning hours.
Great. And I was wondering about the restrooms at Switchyard Park.
Oh, of course. Goodness. So brand new. Yes, we have restrooms at the BPD substation, and those are public restrooms. And then also we have public restrooms in the splash pad building, and then the pavilion has restrooms as well. Those restrooms are open in the pavilion when there's a rental. We have an event going on, but the other public restrooms are open. Again, I could get to the exact time we open early in the morning, and then they're closed up in the evening when we close up the park at 11 p.m. And that's part of the park supervisors or the park rangers' job at night, is to go around and lock up those stationary restroom locations.
All right, thank you. I'll follow up via email about the possibility of extended season. Thank you.
Other council member questions? No one has any for now. Councilmember Piedmont-Smith, you can go. I could ask some, but you go ahead for now.
I think Councilmember Volan had his hand raised as well. No?
I don't think he does.
Okay, just a quick question. One of your photos in the presentation had what looked like a controlled burn in a forest. Do we actually do those?
This was our first one, and actually did it in partnership with the Bloomington Fire Department. And that came actually at their request back in the spring of 2018. We had a couple of brush fires actually start up, and it was because we had a need to do this. So our Natural Resources Department, along with the Fire Department, had a very successful control burn for a couple of acres on the north side, and we'll have plans to do it again. It's really good to burn out that forest floor and the reforestation and the growing of new trees and plants in that area.
And that was at Griffey?
At Griffey, yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other questions from council members? I'll go ahead and ask a question. Thank you for your presentation. I didn't hear a mention about the farmers market, and I think, it's an elephant in the room here that we'd like to know, or I'd like to know what the plan is for that in 2021.
Great, thank you for your question. Well, as you know, we're operating the farmers market, and I'd just like to give this opportunity to really commend our staff and working in partnership with the ESD to do the online market. And we are operating market now with a lot of protocols in place, but it's working very successfully, and we're seeing our customer number come out. So what we're doing in 2020 is we collect a lot of data across all of our programs. And so at farmers market, that is no different. So we are tracking the number of customers and the number of vendors that are participating. And we will, at the end of the season, evaluate the program. And we do this for every single program at the end of their season. So this is routine for us. And so we will do that as well. And we will make our recommendation, and the Board of Park Commissioners will make that decision. And it's not in the general fund budget because that is a program area that operates 100% out of our non-reverting fund. And that I did have a slide and an explanation of how our non-reverting fund works. So that is why you don't see the farmers market in the general fund.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, any other council member questions? Pretty quiet right now. Okay, we can go to public comment. So I think there are new folks on our call. Good evening. What we're doing tonight is allowing 2 minutes per person. You can use the raise hand function to let us know you'd like to comment. we have a timer going, and then I'll give you the notice at 2 minutes. to wrap up. And if you have not wrapped up by 2:10, we will mute you to let the next person speak.
Okay, so the first speaker we have is Mr. Alexander. If you go ahead, you can unmute.
Hi, thanks. I'm Greg Alexander. I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that Parks and Recreation winds up being responsible for a lot of bicycle and pedestrian transportation. I'm talking about, the B line and some of the different trails through parks. And it's really good in a lot of ways because it took them a few years to realize that they would have to clear snow on the B line, but they do that now. And Public Works is still plowing snow into bike lanes, plowing snow onto sidewalks. So to have a group in town that's willing to maintain a bike and ped path is it's amazing and just a blessing. And I thank them for it. It's also good because they have money for bike and ped transportation, which Public Works doesn't. Every spare dollar Public Works gets a hold of, they spend on cars. So I'm glad for Parks and Rec being able to spend money on this. But on the other hand, they're not a transportation agency. They don't take transportation seriously. They look at, when the B line was open, they said, this isn't a trail, this is a linear park, and they believe that, they meant that. And so they resist efforts to adhere to transportation engineering standards. They don't take cyclist safety seriously. That's an understatement. They simply do not care about the safety of cyclists from a transportation perspective. They look at vegetation as a decorative attraction. Even when it blocks the path, they put statues that impinge upon the path. They put benches that impinge upon the path. They don't, when there's building by the path, they don't require a 1.5 foot setback, which is now supposed to be a transportation standard. And little details like this really do matter. A transportation agency should be in charge of the B line. And I know you're not going to solve that tonight, but that's just something you really got to keep in mind. Why is Parks and Rec running such an important transportation facility? Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. I do not see any other hands raised. If you want to give it a second just to make sure.
Okay, I think we can come back to council comments, further council questions. Final council comment, council member. Okay, we'll go Piedmont Smith first.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Okay, sure.
I just wanted to follow up on Councilmember Rosenbarger's previous inquiry about the farmers market. And Ms. McDevitt, you said that it's funded from the non-reverting fund. But we saw that pyramid that, some activities are subsidized more than others. And that's, first of all, does that subsidy come from the general fund that we're talking about tonight? And secondly, how much subsidy is usually given to the farmers market? And I know this year is unusual, but usually.
Right. Thank you for the question. Yes, when we talk about our cost recovery, that percentage, it does come from the general fund. So for example, the examples that I used, 25% is the cost recovery goal at Banneker. So that means they rely on the general fund 75%, or 75%, correct. The farmers market, as you all know, we've had a very, very long history with farmers market, and there was a time when it was in the general fund, but over time, through the revenues that were coming in through the farmers market, the Board of Park Commissioners established a 100% cost recovery goal for farmers market. So that meant that it was to run 100% through non-reverting. And for many, many years, up until last year, we were meeting that goal. And we generate fees through the contracts with the farmers, with the prepared food vendors, through Information Alley. We have tote sales. We had several revenue streams that allowed us to do that. And that also included our full-time staff member that worked at that was in that position. So Yes, this year is very different, but again, we don't back down from collecting the data, and we will line the 2020 data upright with our previous years and see where we are to make that determination. But the goal of 100% cost recovery has been in place at least 7 or 8 years. I'd have to check for sure, but it's been a long time that it's been able to sustain itself.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Smith, I think I saw your hand up.
Sure, my hand was up. I just wanted to make sure I said thank you to Ms. McDevitt for this great park system that you're administering, and it's great. It's a jewel of our city, and just thank you for all your efforts. I know there's been some tough times with with the market and things, but it's just a great thing, and thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Councilmember Candelaria, you had your hand up as well. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for the new fairways at Cascades on the Pine Course. Appreciate that. And I just want to publicly acknowledge you and express my thanks. I think most people know that there is a pilot project underway in Lower Cascades right now that involves the conversion of a road to an actual bike path. And Paula and her team have been phenomenal about staying in touch with, I think you've attended, what, 2 or 3, maybe 4 of my constituent meetings. You've answered questions, you've been in email touch, and I just appreciate not just the amazing park system that you have put together over time, but just how responsive you have been to constituents in the district I represent. So thank you, heartfelt thanks for that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from council members? Councilmember Piedmont Smith.
Yeah, I just want to repeat what I said earlier this week, and that is, and I certainly do appreciate Ms. McDevitt's comment about relying on data, but it seems to me that at this point, the city of Bloomington, the residents of our city are probably better served if the community farmers market is run by a nonprofit organization, because currently at the farmers market, as we know, there's a vendor who has ties to white supremacists, and it just has created an atmosphere where a lot of people do not feel safe going to the market. And of course, due to the First Amendment, we as a government cannot restrict or deny that vendor if they follow the other regulations. And there have been lawsuits by a protester, lawsuit by the vendor. It seems like it's a no-win situation for the city. And I really, really value the farmers market. I have a cherished photo of myself and my brother selling tomatoes at one of the very early farmers markets when I was 8 years old. And it's a very valuable part of our community, but I think a nonprofit, as we've seen this summer, that there have been successful markets in other locations, and I think it's time for the city to get out of the farmers market business, just on principle. So I do look forward to the data as well, but those are my thoughts at the moment on the farmers market. Overall, Parks and Rec, I think, does an excellent job. It's won national awards and been recognized for its great programs. Again, me as an individual, I've spent a lot of time on the trails due to COVID, especially when we were on lockdown, when there was nothing else to do. And I value it very much. So thank you for all your hard work. And I think the farmers market is something that should probably be left to others at this point. Thank you.
Any additional council members wanting to make a comment, ask a question? Both things are allowed right now, I would say. Okay. Okay. Well, I think we can have Clerk Bolden do roll call for our due pass recommendation.
Okay. Councilmember Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Sandberg,
Yes.
no, Scambalori,
Yes.
Rosenbarger,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
and Bolin.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. McDevitt, for presenting and being our final presentation of the night. Hanging in there. We can get out of here until tomorrow night. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Who's chairing tomorrow? Councilmember Sandberg. So another exciting night ahead. Okay. All right. So thanks everyone for coming out. See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Good job, Kate.
Good job, Kate.
Thanks.